Gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ, according to Luke.
Glory to you, Lord Christ.
Someone in the crowd said to Jesus, "Teacher, tell my brother to divide the family inheritance with me." But he said to him, "Friend, who set me to be your judge or arbitrator over you?" And he said to them, "Take care, be on your guard against all kinds of greed, for one's life does not consider in the abundance of possessions." Then he told them a parable. The land of a rich man produced abundantly, and he thought to himself, "What should I do, for I have no place to store my crops?" Then he said, "I will do this. I will pull down my barns and build larger ones, and there I will store all my grain and my goods. And I will say to my soul, 'Soul, you have ample goods laid up for many years. Relax, eat, drink, be merry.' But God said to him, 'You fool, this very night your life is being demanded of you. And the things you have prepared, whose will they be?' So it is with those who store up treasures for themselves, but are not rich toward God." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Christ.
Did.
Hi, my name is Nick Howard, and this is my second year on the mission trip to Los Angeles. This year's trip led to many new feelings for people I never knew I had. The day before I was supposed to leave, I had said that I was not sure if I wanted to go. I told my mom that I would sleep on the thought and I would let her know in the morning. When I woke up, I came to the conclusion that I wanted to go. My mom drove me to the church, and I was so relieved to see so many familiar faces. On the 6-hour drive to Los Angeles, my emotions were going wild. I had been remembering everything we did the year before, and if I were to settle on 3 words to describe how I was feeling, it would be excitement, amazing, and compassion. Excitement, because I had no idea what was going to come around the corner and surprise me next. Amazement, because I was amazed at just how a little bit of work can go a long way. And compassion, because I truly cared and felt every person's story that I heard throughout the trip. Every year, the mission trips continue to surprise me, and if I could, I would go on it every year. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Yahida, and I'm really glad I had the opportunity to go on this trip and to help those who have greater needs than me. Our group had volunteered at a women's shelter called Alexandria House. This house had several women who had gone through a lot of trauma in their life, things we'll never understand. Since they had their own struggles, especially with taking care of their kids and having their own responsibilities around the house, it was a lot for them. So as our group had taken on some of their responsibilities, this had helped them a lot throughout the week. A lot of them were very thankful and grateful. We had prepared food for their dinner, worked with the kids, organized several things around the house, and a lot more. Each day at the house, we heard several thank yous, and it felt good to be able to help out. But one woman had said that we don't understand that the work we think is helping a little is helping so much more than we can imagine. Another place we had served at was a place called Midnight Mission, which is a soup kitchen. that serves 3 meals a day, 7 days a week for the homeless, and also a program that houses people who are trying to recover from the abuse of drugs and alcohol. Our group was serving the line of people. In the line, there were so many different emotions. I knew that everyone had their own story and own ways to deal with things, so at times it would be hard to communicate with everybody else. There would be only a couple of people out of the 1,600 people that we had served. Only some of them would have a slight smile on their face. I think that that's saying a lot. The majority of the people there were angry, sad, quiet. I could tell that everyone had their own walls around them and didn't want to get hurt or break down, so they had kept quiet and kept their imagination growing wild. With all of us saying things like, "God bless you," or "Have a nice day," with a smile on our face, some people had smiled and appreciated it greatly. I think that all of those people in the line just want to feel normal and have someone to listen and talk to them. I believe letting people have a voice gives them a sense of joy. It breaks my heart to see the amount of homelessness in Los Angeles, but it makes me appreciate everything I have and not take everything for granted. It makes me want to be better and to help more and to show others not to be selfish, but to help because this world needs as much as love and support as it can get. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Joseph Mendez, and this is my second year on the mission trip to Los Angeles. Before I start, may I ask how many of you have a kitchen that you can come and go as you please? Okay. 2 places, reaching the same goal, yet approaching it in different ways. I say this because, in a way, one is a system. Just by the way we serve food at Midnight Mission and the way that we serve food at Alexandria House. I noticed this difference when I heard the story of Kiana Kay, who is a woman in the women's shelter at Alexandria House. When she said that they told her dinner was ready, she said, and I quote, "I was expecting hairnets and aprons, but instead I walked into a kitchen," and that's when it hit, when she said, "I walked in a kitchen." When we were at Midnight Mission, we served dinner with hairnets and plastic aprons. That was one difference. And the other is that I realized at Midnight Mission, it's not only the building itself, but it is also the people around it at Skid Row. A very talented lady named Angela said people in Skid Row have cardboard blankets and concrete pillows. And at Alexandria House, I noticed that they had linen blankets and fluffed pillows. They sleep on beds and not on sidewalks. The difference between the kitchens and the difference between how they sleep. That's when it hit that there's a difference in Alexandria House and at Midnight Mission, because one is a system and one is a family community where you can sleep. And at Alexandria House, where you can sleep with fluff pillows and linen blankets, and at Skid Row, you have to sleep with cardboard blankets and concrete pillows.
Hi, my name is Christian Quartermaine, and I was one of the participants of this mission trip. Alexandria House is a special kind of place. It's different from other shelters. They provide a safe place for women and children to stay. Their job is to house the women and the children, and they provide daycare programs for the children. 92% of the women who have gone through Alexandria House are now financially secure and in permanent housing. They rely heavily on our support. There were a few projects that we took on. The first, we transformed an old playroom to something that the kids and the adults would enjoy hanging out in. After 4 days of grueling work, it looked brand new with a sleek new paint job. Our second project was working on Daisy's yard. When we arrived, you couldn't navigate through the yard. After the work was done, there were 2 clear pathways and an area for Daisy to plant whatever she desires. The third project was helping Jamise clear her yard because she had neither the time nor the resources to do so. We arrived quickly and got to work and finished her whole yard in around 40 minutes. The coolest project that I took on was with Hayden, Wilson, and Carlotta, a longtime helper and co-founder. We took the task of putting together over 3,000 letters to be sent out to past donators. Although the work was tedious, we finished the project. The very next day, we received word that the first donation for $250 had already been sent in. This whole trip has changed my stereotypes of the homeless to people who are looking to be treated as everyone else.
Hi, I'm Michael Quartermaine, and today I get the pleasure to talk to you about a sweet lady named Daisy and how she and her garden were able to make me a better person through patience, resilience, and most of all, a positive attitude, even when things look tough. To give a little background, Daisy was a woman in her 60s who had a recent battle with cancer that gave her many health problems that prevented her from being able to take care of her garden. So as you can imagine, the garden was not well kept and many plants grew out of control with no way for her to stop them. Although Daisy lacked the physical capabilities, she did not lack passion and especially kindness. Before meeting Daisy, the idea of someone's positive attitude being able to completely change a negative attitude seemed impossible. Until Daisy. For example, on the first day, I was able to chase around little preschoolers, a job that I believed to be truly hitting the jackpot, to have to put on work gloves and do some vigorous labor. As you can imagine, I was a little bit aggravated, but immediately, when I saw Daisy's smile from the work we did, I knew it was worth it. Working on the garden taught me a lot of things about myself. It taught me patience, how to overcome obstacles, and how to connect with people on a more personal level. In total, the garden took 3 long and exhausting days to complete. Day 1 was devoted to removing a very large shrubbery that housed thousands of insects. This job was particularly enjoyable because any frustration we had, we were able to take out on the shrub, and it actually, and it made it go a lot quicker. Day 2 also was fun, with Joseph and I being able to use an electric trimmer to cut a path through a very dense part of Daisy's garden. This was energizing because 1, we had to ask a million times for permission, not really expecting that we were going to get it, and 2, it saved us so much time, and we were able to give Daisy the island that she liked to call it, that she always wanted. Day 3 was the real learning day because it was about removing roots. And if anyone has removed roots, they know how grueling it is. I learned perseverance because to get to the main part of the root, we have to dig up smaller roots, some of the smaller roots, and it felt like it took forever. I had to learn to overcome obstacles because we had many physical barriers, such as fences, walls, cinder blocks, and other plants that made it difficult to work. So we always had to go around it. I also learned to talk on a more personal level through conversations I had with Joseph and Pam. When I think about my time in the garden, one word that best sums up my experience is fulfillment. Through talking with Daisy and being able to see the fruit of my labor, I can truly say I was fulfilled. I thank God for the blessing of meeting Daisy and the fulfillment that I had working on her garden.
Hi, my name is Wilson Tosberg, and I had the opportunity to go on the LA mission trip for my first time. And my favorite part by far was hanging out with the kids from Alexandria House on their summer camp. They always had smiles on their faces and were running around and laughing. It was a privilege to play with Joshua and other kids and take them places they normally could not go. I love watching kids. It is easy if you go in with a positive mindset. The most challenging part was taking my buddy Joshua to the park because we had to walk through the streets of LA and a train station. I had to make sure Joshua was safe and aware of the environment around us. People, cars, and trains. I was alert and ready to help at any time, but Joshua made it easy and stayed close to me. When I got Joshua as my buddy, he was happy and willing to talk. He was not shy at all. He put his full trust in me. I was so excited to see all the kids running around on the splash pad. They made jokes, played superheroes, and played tag. They were laughing and had huge smiles on their faces. As we got back to Alexandria House, we had to say goodbye to all the kids. I'll never forget having such a fun experience that day. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Lila Neumann, and I had the pleasure of being a part of this year's group to go on the mission trip for my second year and be able to help others with greater needs than mine. This year, we had morning devotion as well as in the evenings. During morning devotion, we had a specific word that Kate, my dad Jim, and Pam encouraged us to reflect on and look for throughout each day. Joy, expectations, first impressions, hope, and gratitude. All meaning different things, but all being interconnected at the same time. Joy, happy faces, smiles, and good deeds that make others feel relief. Expectations, what we want to happen before it does. First impressions, what we think will happen, and it may change or it may not. Hope, a sense of relief or a belief that something will get better. And last but not least, gratitude, being grateful for what you have or what you've done. These words meant so much to me because when I was having a hard time, I would ask myself the question, where have I seen these words alive this week? I had joy coursing through my veins as I worked at Alexandria House and Midnight Mission. My expectations for the week were that we would have a great time, and boy, did we. My first impressions of the leaders were that they were and are incredibly supportive, and they love each and every one of us. Very true. I hope that we would all survive the heat. Barely. And last, I'm grateful for all my friends. I love you all with a full heart. I couldn't imagine this trip without any of you. Even though we all had our share of drama and ups and downs, as teenagers do, we all got through it. And I'm also very grateful that my dad was able to join me on the mission trip. And next year will be even better. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Hayden Evensen, and this was my second year going on the Los Angeles mission trip. As much as this trip is about offering our help to the homeless in downtown Los Angeles, it is just as much about growing bonds and friendships to last for years to come. Every person on this trip forged a new friendship where experience or age didn't make a difference. Well, except if you're a freshman. In all seriousness, the whole group grew closer together, and this includes the adults. There was one special adult to me that made a huge difference when it mattered. He made me laugh, acted as if he was a teenager, just way more responsible, and helped me through a difficult time. His name is Jim Newman. Jim had huge shoes to fill from last year's male leader, Bo Vogue-Tritter, and I was sure to let him know of that. I'm not gonna lie, he filled those shoes and then some. He was always there for us and was right there for me when I broke down about missing my dad. Jim was also brought before our council and was convicted of being way too cool. His punishment was to serve 5 minutes in uncool camp, which, by the way, was unsuccessful. I want to say thank you to every adult leader who made this trip possible, and especially Jim, for being the coolest 44-year-old I know. Every kid grew close together on this trip, despite many not knowing others before the trip had begun. We explored the cathedral together, went some places we probably shouldn't have gone, and helped one another in times of need. From the awkward laughs Camilla and I shared when we couldn't think of anything to say to each other, to razzing the freshmen, everyone grew close on this trip, and we all know the friendships we made will last for years to come.
Wow, right? Do you feel inspired? Do you feel motivated? Yeah, I hope so, because I do. I'm Kate Fimbris. I'm the Minister of Youth and Parish Life here at St. Barnabas, and it is a privilege to be alongside these young people and the leaders, to get to leave our safe community and go to another place and share compassion and share hope with one another. Homelessness, this is a real situation. It's big. There's not one reason why someone becomes homeless. There's a lot of different reasons. A lot of people are just this close to being on the edge of being homeless. And so when we encounter people and how we act, it does make a difference. I'm really proud of this group because they gave up for a week all those luxuries that we're used to, phones, electronics, a bed, their own kitchen, their own bathroom. And they worked really hard, as you heard. But that hard work gets in our souls, and it does things. It changes us. It motivates us. It opens our eyes to say, hey, that world is a greater world, and it needs me, and it needs you. They didn't spend the week being judgmental or critical. They spent the week listening, looking, serving, loving, being present. We heard from the women of Alexandria House, 92% is success rate for the women that go through the program there. And you know why? It's because they have community. They're not on their own ever. And community is what binds us. Community is what leads us. It's what inspires us. It's what helps us be the people of God that we need to be in this world. And we realize that small actions have a huge impact. Huge. That smile that we give to someone that's standing on the street, that matters. That looking at someone saying, "Hi, I see you," that matters. A wave, that matters. A bottle of water, that matters. So as we go forth today and tomorrow, let's do things that matter. Let's do things that inspire us. Because being people of God is really awesome, right? So thank you for being with us this morning, and thank you, you guys. And one last thing, I need the 2 adults that went on this trip to stand up because they were amazing. So thank you, Jim Newman, and thank you, Pam Bell. And thank you for your support and your love.